for Tampa Bay, even though that they are not in the race. They just add another asset to their team who I think will play well for them. Another trade that happened earlier today, Leonis Martin was traded from the Detroit Tigers to the Cleveland Indians. Nice deal for Cleveland to get some outfield depth. Shortstop prospect Billy Castro was sent to Detroit in the deal, and Detroit also sent Double-A starter Kyle Dowdy to Cleveland, a part of this deal as well. So Cleveland makes the depth outfield move that they need, and I like Martin, although he's 30 years old. The Arizona Diamondbacks acquired Brad Ziegler from the Miami Marlins and also acquired Jake Dykman from the Texas Rangers. Two good trades for Arizona to help their bullpen. Arizona sent Double-A reliever Tommy Eveld. And going back to Texas for Jake Dykman is minor league reliever Wei Cheng Huang. So two nice trades for Arizona today. The most controversial trade over the last 24 hours was the Astros acquiring Roberto Osuna from the Toronto Blue Jays for Ken Giles and some other prospects. Minor league pitchers, they're both righties, Hector Perez and David Polino. I think Toronto did a nice job in this deal. Maybe they'll rebuild Ken Giles' value. Giles will probably slide in as their closer now with a couple of the trades they made today. And I actually, controversial opinion, like this deal for Houston. Ozuna was a great closer before all the baggage came along. I've seen him dominate against the Yankees and the Red Sox, so Jeff Luhnow must have been doing his homework. Seattle Mariners had an interesting day yesterday. They sent international money to the Yankees for Adam Warren. I was puzzled by this move by Brian Cashman, who then turned around and acquired Lance Lynn from the Minnesota Twins for Tyler Austin and right-hander Luis Rios. And back to Seattle with Zach Duke, who was acquired from the Minnesota Twins for two minor league players, Chase DeHong, a righty, and infielder Ryan Costello. So two nice trades to improve their bullpen by Jerry Dipoto. The Boston Red Sox acquired Ian Kinsler from the Los Angeles Angels last night, early this morning. Nice deal for Boston. I do not think Justin Pedroia is coming back this season. So it's a nice deal for Boston. Back to Anaheim in the deal is AAA reliever Ty Buttery and another AAA reliever, Williams Jerez. So nice deal for Boston as they upgrade at second base. So not really upgrade, but upgrade defensively. Not from Pedroia, I'm talking about Eduardo Nunez, per se. And then Nunez slides over to third for now with Rafael Devers on the disabled list. The Chicago Cubs acquired Brandon Kinsler from the Washington Nationals. I like this deal for the Cubs. This is the second time Kinsler was traded in the last 2 years. Going back to Washington is advanced day pitcher Johan Romero. This makes the Cubs bullpen a little bit deeper. Right now, Steve Chizik and Brandon Morrow are both on the DL. Pedro Strope's been closing out games for the Cubs recently. But once those two injured guys come back, the Cubs are going to have a deep bullpen. So it's a good move by Jed Hoyer and Theo Epstein. The Philadelphia Phillies acquired Wilson Ramos from the Tampa Bay Rays. I think this is one of the more surprising trades that happened today. good deal for Philadelphia. A player to be named later is going back to Tampa Bay. That's a mystery. I think that's just a steal for Philly. I think Ramos could have gotten more back. So Ramos will be splitting playing time with Jorge Alfaro and Andrew Knapp. So Philadelphia basically has 3 catchers now. The best defensive catcher of the bunch is Ramos. I think he'll get the majority of the playing time. So give Philadelphia credit for going for it. And they actually made a bullpen addition as well. Aaron Loup comes over from the Toronto Blue Jays. Loop's had some moments over the last couple years when Toronto was a contender. Good and bad. Back to Toronto, and that deal is pitching prospect Jacob Waguespack. So I really like the deal for Philadelphia to get another bullpen arm to go along with Pat Neshek and Seranthony Dominguez in that pen. Another surprising trade today, the Los Angeles Dodgers acquired Brian Dozier from the Minnesota Twins. This is very surprising considering that you would think that they would have not made another infield upgrade with the trade of Manny Machado. This is an absolute stunner to me. But, hey, give the Dodgers credit. They made another move, got themselves even better and even deeper. Back in the deal for Minnesota is Logan Forsythe, who really didn't pan out with the Dodgers. Prospects Luke Raley and Devin Smeltzer are also in the deal as well. So I think that was a great trade for the Dodgers. I think they're the team to beat in the National League with Dozier, Machado, Justin Turner, who's on the disabled list. Maybe that had to do with the acquisition of Dozier a little bit. Max Muncy you have, and Cody Bellinger, rejuvenated Matt Kemp, maybe Yasiel Puig comes back off the DL and starts hitting a little bit. So this Dodger team, I think, is absolutely putting all their chips on the table. Dozier and Machado are rentals. Yes, I get it. Justin Turner's hurt, and Corey Seager's out for the year. But I have to give the Dodgers some credit for going for it. They also made another move to upgrade their bullpen. They acquired John Axford of the Toronto Blue Jays. Going back to Toronto, and the deal is righty Corey Copping. The Braves made a monster trade pretty much at the buzzer, sending a couple prospects to Baltimore for Kevin Gossman and Darren O'Day. So Gossman slides right into that Braves rotation, probably going to be number 3 behind Mike Falta-Units and Sean Newcomb. They also have Julio Teheran in that rotation. So they deepen their rotation. Instead of getting an ace, maybe Gossman will be rejuvenated, pitching on a contender. So I saw somebody on social media compare him and say he could be the next Jake Arrieta. That could very well be the case, or he could turn out to be a flop. You never know. Back to Baltimore are a bunch of minor leaguers, including corner outfielder Giancarlo Encarnacion, catcher Brent Cumberland, righty Evan Phillips, and lefty Bruce Zimmerman, along with $2.5 million of international bonus money going back to Baltimore. That's a nice haul for Gossman and O'Day. I already discussed Jake Dykman and John Axford. Perhaps the biggest trade of the day, Chris Archer traded from Tampa Bay to Pittsburgh for Austin Meadows and Tyler Glasnow, and the player to be named later. That is a big win for Pittsburgh and a big win for Tampa Bay. Pittsburgh gets an above-average starter to go with Jamison Tyon in their rotation. And it's also a win for them because they did not have to include Mitch Keller in the deal. Tyler Glasnow's been inconsistent all year. They sent him to Tampa Bay. Maybe Glasnow in Tampa Bay would rebuild his value a little bit. Austin Meadows has franchise player potential. So that's a nice haul for Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay had a great day today with the acquisition of Pham and what they got back for Archer. And they were able to keep Blake Snell in town as well. And the last trade that happened at the buzzer, the Milwaukee Brewers acquired Jonathan Scope from the Baltimore Orioles for Jonathan Villar, right-handed pitching prospect Luis Ortiz, and minor league shortstop Gene Carmona. Nice deal for Milwaukee, makes their offense even better. I like the return Baltimore got. Maybe Jonathan Villar rebuilds his value a little bit because he hasn't been good in a couple years. Luis Ortiz is a solid pitching prospect who is expandable. And the minor league infielder that they sent to Baltimore is expandable as well. Now I'm going to hand out winners and losers while doing my power rankings. I did not do the power rankings yesterday because I knew the trade deadline was today. So I want to save them for today. I'm going to go from 30 to 1 and say winner or loser and give explanations why. Number 30, the Baltimore Orioles. To me, they're a winner. They did a great job today getting as much as they can for some of their assets. They got a lot back for Machado. They got some good pieces back for Britton. I like what they got back for Scope. And I like some of the pieces they got back for Gossman. They did a great job today, but they are still the worst team in Major League Baseball. 29 is the Kansas City Royals. They are a loser because they didn't get proper value for some of the guys they traded away. Whit Merrifield's still on this roster, although they can trade him this winter. Salvador Perez is still on this roster, although they can trade him this winter as well. But for not getting proper value for Kelvin Herrera, although they got nice value for Mike Moustakas with Brett Phillips and Jorge Lopez, I just didn't like that they still had assets to trade and didn't get proper value for Herrera. So you could argue that Kansas City shouldn't be a loser. 28 is the Chicago White Sox. I think they are a loser because they only traded Joakim Soria. They had a nice return, but not a return that I would say wow about. You could have gotten something for James Shields. You could have gotten something for Jose Abreu. Maybe some of those guys will be moved in the winter, although Shields, I believe, is in a contract year. 27 is the Miami Marlins. I think they're a winner. They got some nice hauls back for Brad Ziegler and Cam Maben. That was another trade I forgot to mention. Cameron Maben was traded to the Seattle Mariners today as well for minor league infielder Bryson Brigman, as well as some international bonus pool slot money. So I think the Marlins did a nice job today. Number 26 is the New York Mets. This is obvious. They are an absolute loser. They got a nice piece back for Asdrubal Cabrera, but they didn't get anything back for Familia that was of his value. And Jacob deGrom and Noah Syndergaard and Zach Wheeler are still members of the New York Mets, although some of those guys can be moved in the offseason as well as Steven Matz. But to me, the Mets are a big fat L today. Number 25 is the San Diego Padres, who I consider a winner because they got Francisco Mejia in the trade for Brad Hand and Adam Simber. Number 24 is the Texas Rangers, who to me are a loser. I don't think they got proper value for Keone Kela or Jake Dykman. They could have gotten a little more for those guys. And the Cole Hamels return wasn't that bad, although I do think they could have done better in that trade as well. 23 is the Detroit Tigers. They're a loser too. Nicholas Castellanos is having a career year. They could have cashed in on him and gotten a big haul. It's not their fault that Michael Fulmer's had a disappointing season. I wouldn't have traded Fulmer right now because he's not what Detroit thinks he's worth right now. So you got to defend them on that. But to me, they're a loser. And the other thing is that Mike Fiers was close to being traded to the Oakland Athletics, and that trade fell through. Number 22 is the Cincinnati Reds. I call them a loser. Matt Harvey's still on the team, and he's in a contract year. He's a free agent. Rafael Iglesias, somebody could have overpaid for them. Houston, perhaps. Boston, maybe. But Iglesias is an absolute stud closer. Maybe they'll deal him in the offseason if Cincinnati decides to continue the rebuild. But maybe they have a case against training those guys because of how well they've played since Jim Riggleman has taken over as the manager. Number 21 is the Toronto Blue Jays. To me, they're a winner. They're able to snag back Billy McKinney and Brandon Drury for Jay Happ. Those are two Major League ready players that they have control over for the next 5+ years. And they also got some nice pieces back for John Axford and Roberto Osuna as well. And just getting Osuna off their hands alone, to me, makes Toronto a winner. Even though I think they did tremendous in the Happ deal. 20 is the Minnesota Twins. I consider them a winner. They did a nice job getting some assets back for Brian Dozier and Zach Duke. Number 19 is the San Francisco Giants. To me, they are a loser. To me, they are not a contender. They're a pretender. And they should have traded away the likes of Andrew McCutchen and Madison Bumgarner and Brandon Belt. This team is going nowhere, and this is a rebuild that is very overdue. And Johnny Cueto just got hurt, which is an absolute bummer for them and their playoff chances. Maybe they'll make trades in August. Don't forget about August trades. We saw last year that the Tigers traded Justin Verlander at the waiver deadline last year, and that really helped them set up well for the future, and it helped the Astros obviously win their first World Series in franchise history. Number 18 is the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. They are a loser. They did not trade some of their better bullpen arm assets, although they got some things in return for the aging Ian Kinsler. Number 17 is the St. Louis Cardinals. To me, they are a loser, even though they traded Tommy Pham and Sam Tuivalu away and got some nice pieces back. They should have been a flat-out seller if they were to trade Pham and Tuivalu, who are not rental players. They could have gotten something perhaps for Matt Carpenter. Maybe a contender would have overpaid for him. I could have seen a scenario where the Yankees could have, in theory, sent Miguel Andujar and Justice Sheffield and some combination for Carlos Martinez and Matt Carpenter or something like that. Or if the Red Sox decide to throw in Jason Groomer and Rafael Devers for those same two players. And I think the Red Sox would have been a monster fit for Matt Carpenter. He would have been a big bat in that lineup. But the good thing for St. Louis here is that Carpenter's not a rental. He's under team control for another 2 years, I believe. But if you were to trade Pham and Tuivalu, then you should have just blown the whole thing up. Number 16 is the Tampa Bay Rays. I have them as a winner. I think they did a great job today. Even though they got Tommy Pham and they essentially bought him and didn't give up much to get him. He's just another asset that they added to their team. They got overvalue for Chris Archer with Meadows and Glasnow. I think Glasnow can slide into their rotation and could be a swingman for them. And Meadows could play every day for Tampa Bay as well. So I think the Rays had a great day today. Number 15 is the Washington Nationals. They are to be a flat-out loser, just like the Mets. They clearly aren't going anywhere, or more similar to the Cardinals and the Giants, I should say, not necessarily the Mets, because they're closer to the Cardinals and the Giants in the standings rather than their division rival. But, yeah, they traded Brandon Kinsler and got a nice piece back for him. If you traded Brandon Kinsler, then you should have traded Herrera and Madsen and some of these other relievers you have. Bryce Harper's still on the team, but I did make a case for August trades, and you never know with August trades, as Verlander demonstrated last year with the Tigers and him going to the Astros. But yeah, the Nationals are a flat-out loser to me. They should have sold. 14 is the Oakland Athletics. I think this is a bit of a controversial one. To me, they're a loser because the trade for Mike Fiers fell through. If they added Fiers, I would have had them as a winner. Fiers would have slid nicely into their rotation as their number 3 guy behind Sean Manaea And I would consider Frankie Montas their number 2 guy, but he was just demoted recently. Brett Anderson's in the back end of that rotation. So rotation's not very strong outside of Minaya. Adding somebody like Fires, who I think's a middle guy, would have been a great addition. Yes, they traded for Horace's Familia, who will help in their bullpen and didn't give up much to get him. But the fact that they didn't upgrade their rotation, to me, makes them a loser. Number 13 is the Pittsburgh Pirates. To me, they are a winner. Yes, they overpaid for Chris Archer, but they didn't have to give up Mitch Keller to get him. And a rotation led by Archer and Jamison Tyon is very nice. Trevor Williams is a nice rotation piece, too. I think the Pirates will hang in this race as well. I love the Keela addition. To me, they are a winner. I was tempted to put Pittsburgh higher on this list, but I just didn't have the balls to do it. Number 12 is the Milwaukee Brewers. Controversial, but I think they're a loser because they did not add an above-average starting pitcher, especially now with Brent Sutter's out for the year. Yes, there are opportunities to make a deal in August. I get it, but I think they blew a nice opportunity here. Yes, they made their offense absolutely better with the additions of Moustakas and Scope, and made a nice bullpen acquisition with Joakim Soria, but I think they blew it by not getting a pitcher. Number 11 is the Colorado Rockies. To me, they are a winner because they upgraded their bullpen, which has been lousy all season pretty much. Wade Davis has had a disappointing year. Brian Shaw's been an abomination. Jake McGee's been inconsistent. Adam Ottavino has been their best reliever most of the season. But I like the additions they made with Sang-Won Oh coming to town to help them in their pen. And they also picked somebody else up, I believe, too. I forget who. Number 10 is the Seattle Mariners. To me, they're a winner. I like what they did, bringing in Zach Duke and Adam Warren. And Warren's a guy that can swing between the rotation and the pen. Although they didn't get a legit starter, I consider them a winner because they made their bullpen better. And I like the acquisition of Cam Maben. He's just a veteran outfielder who knows what he's doing, although he's been disappointing throughout his career and not the player that people thought he was going to be when he first broke into the big leagues. Number 9 is the Atlanta Braves. To me, they are a winner. They went out and got Kevin Gossman, somebody who can take advantage of a change of scenery. They also made bullpen improvements with Darren O'Day and Brad Brock and Johnny Venters. And they also made a trade for Adam Duvall. Yeah, Duvall can't play third base. That's the spot I thought they needed an upgrade at the most. I think Adrian Beltre would have made some sense for him, but you can always trade for him in August. But to me, the Braves are a winner. Number 8 is the Arizona Diamondbacks. I consider them a winner too. They improved their bullpen by getting Jake Dykman, Brad Ziegler, and the Matt Andrees acquisition, I think, will turn out to be a nice one, although he did not have a good game yesterday. I also like the addition of Eduardo Escobar, who's having a career year for them. Number 7, I have the Philadelphia Phillies. To me, they're a winner too. They upgraded their offense by adding Asdrubal Cabrera and Wilson Ramos. They also added a bullpen arm in Adam Loop. I think their rotation is fine, although there are talks that they could go out and pursue a starter. Number 6, the Cleveland Indians. I had them as a winner because they improved the weakest part of their team, which was their bullpen, by getting Brad Hand and Adam Simber. And I also like the addition of Leonis Martin to give them some outfield depth. Number 5 is the Chicago Cubs. I have them as a winner, going out and getting Cole Hamels so he can slide right in the middle of that rotation with John Lester and Jose Quintana and Kyle Hendricks. And if Darvish comes back and is Darvish of old, that's a tough out in the National League and can rival the Dodgers as the favorites in the conference. I also like the bullpen addition of Brandon Kinsler and the other swingman addition of Jesse Chavez. I think Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer did a nice job today and throughout the trade season. Number 4, the Los Angeles Dodgers. To me, they are a winner because of the addition of Manny Machado and now the addition of Brian Dozier. They also got themselves a bullpen arm in John Axford. They could have made a rotation upgrade as well, but I think they backed off from it because they already have enough depth in their rotation with Clayton Kershaw and Heijin Ryu and Kenta Maeda and Alex Wood and Walker Buehler. Ross Stripling's on the disabled list, but he's had a phenomenal year this year as well. Number 3 is the Houston Astros. To me, they're a winner. Controversial pick here, but I call them a winner. They upgraded their bullpen with Alex Presley and the suspended Roberto Osuna. They got rid of Ken Giles, so that, to me, is considered a win, too. Although you can have a loser argument for Houston, but I'm considering them a winner because they got rid of Ken Giles and they made 2 upgrades with Presley, and I believe Osuna's an upgrade, even though he's in a lot of trouble right now. 2, New York Yankees, I consider them a winner. They upgraded their rotation by acquiring J. Happ. At first, I didn't love the idea of them getting J. Happ, but he has solid numbers against the Red Sox in his career. That matters. And he has solid numbers against Houston as well. They made a big bullpen acquisition with Zach Britton. I think that was the best trade they made personally because it lengthens their bullpen and their starters that can't go further than really 6, such as like CC Sabathia and even Happ on sometimes, or Sonny Gray now that he wasn't dealt, and their new acquisition Lance Lynn are all guys that can go less than 6 or could go further than 6 if they're on their games, but the acquisition of Britton actually makes them shorten games a little bit. Chad Green has to get right. He hasn't pitched well recently, and the same can be said for David Robertson. Dellin Betances has been a monster. Aroldis Chapman, despite the bad outing against the Mets, and he made Yankee fans sweat Saturday against the Royals. He's been awesome all year. The addition of Britton makes that team absolutely better, as well as the addition of J. Happ. There were talks that they were going to acquire an outfield/DH type of player with Aaron Judge on the disabled list. They decided not to go that route. Maybe they're confident that Judge will be back sooner rather than later. And number 1, the Boston Red Sox. To me, they're a loser. Controversial opinion here. I'd say they're a loser. They did not go out and get an 8th inning type of reliever like a Kelvin Herrera or a Brandon Kinsler. He could have helped. Jake Dykman could have helped. Keone Kela could have helped. There's a lot of guys that would fit that description, or even Britton for that matter. I know the Red Sox were in on him, but they didn't get him. So I believe that could be something that can come back to haunt them in games against the Yankees down the stretch of the season. I like the Kinsler acquisition for second base, although I believe there were better options out there. They could have gotten Brian Dozier. Asdrubal Cabrera, to me, would have been the absolute perfect fit for the Red Sox because he can play third base, he can play second base, he can DH, he can even play some first base and platoon with Mitch Moreland a little bit. But to me, the Red Sox are a loser because I think they could have gotten guys that were better fits, such as Asdrubal Cabrera and even Zach Britton at the deadline, but they just failed to do so. I'm going to go over the games from last night and look ahead to today's games before I go. There's actually a game going on right now between San Francisco and San Diego. I'll get to that in a moment. The Red Sox defeated the Phillies 2-1 in 13 innings on a walk-off by Blake Swihart. Hector Velasquez improves to 7-0. Austin Davis drops to 1-1. Not going to go through the scoring because of timing issues. And there's another game underway, as I mentioned, with the Giants and the Padres, so I don't want to be too long. The Braves defeated the Marlins 5-3 as they improve to 56-47. Miami drops to 46-62. Julio Teheran improves to 8-7. Wayne Chen drops to 3-8. AJ Minter with his 6th save of the year. The Twins defeated the Indians 5-4 as they improve to 49-56. Cleveland drops to 57-48. Fernando Rodney improves to 3-2. Neil Ramirez drops 0-1. Mitch Garver had the walk-off double to give the Twins the win. The Cardinals defeated the Rockies 5-4 in 10 innings as they improve to 54-52. Colorado drops to 57-48. Dakota Hudson improves to 1-0. Jake McKee drops to 1-4. The game-ending hit of this game was a walk-off home run by Marcell Ozuna. The Rangers defeated the Diamondbacks 9-5 as they improve to 46-52. Arizona drops to 59-49. Eddie Butler improves to 1-0. His first win as a Ranger. Matt Andriese, with the loss, drops 0-1. That was his first loss as a Diamondback. So 2 trade acquisitions by their respective teams, getting the wins and the loss there. The Brewers defeated the Dodgers 5-2 as they improved to 62-47. The Dodgers dropped to 59-48. Josh Hader improves to 4-0. Kenta Maeda drops to 7-6. I had the Dodgers on the podcast yesterday. I was wrong. And within the other game, I had the Phillies. I was wrong, so 0-2 yesterday. The Athletics defeated the Blue Jays 10-1 as they improved to 62-46. Toronto drops to 48-57. Edwin Jackson improves to 2-2. Marco Estrada drops to 4-8. The Mariners defeated the Astros 2-0 as they improved to 63-43. Houston drops to 67-41. James Paxton improves to 9-4. Garrett Cole drops to 10-3. Edwin Diaz gets his 40th save of the year. That's 5 straight losses for Houston now. The Giants defeated the Padres 5-3 as they improved to 54-54. San Diego drops to 42-67. Will Smith improves to 1-1. Matt Strahm drops to 2-3. Today's games underway right now. Giants-Padres. Padres up 1-0 over the San Francisco Giants. On the mound for San Diego today, Clayton Richard. San Francisco, Derek Rodriguez, as San Francisco just tied up the game at 1 apiece. 7 o'clock ESPN, Phillies, Red Sox. Jake Arrieta, Drew Pomeranz give you the Phillies on the road. They have the pitching advantage there. Orioles, Yankees. Jeffrey Ramirez and Masahiro Tanaka. Mets, Nationals. Steven Matz and Tanner Roark. Cubs, Pirates. John Lester and Jamison Taillon. Reds, Tigers. Homer Bailey, Matt Boyd. Angels, Rays. Tyler Skaggs and Ryan Stanek. Marlins, Braves. Dan Straley and Colby Allard. Royals, White Sox, 8 o'clock. Danny Duffy and James Shields. Indians, Twins. Trevor Bauer and Kyle Gibson. 8:15 Rockies, Cardinals. John Gray and Jack Flaherty. 9:40 Rangers, Diamondbacks. Bartolo Colon and Zach Godley. 10 o'clock Blue Jays, Athletics. Sam Gaviglio and Trevor Cahill. Astros, Mariners. Charlie Morton and Mike Leake. And last but not least, Brewers, Dodgers. Wade Miley and Walker Buehler. Last but not least, before I go, football news. The Minnesota Vikings extended Stefon Diggs. 5-year extension. Don't remember how much it was worth. Minnesota Vikings quietly having a fantastic offseason with locking up all of their key core players. Although the headline move they made was signing Kirk Cousins in free agency. But them signing their long-term guys is pretty big. Or I should say players that they care about to long-term deals, such as Diggs and Danielle Hunter and a bunch of other guys that are important to their success over the last few years. That's it for the podcast today. Tomorrow I'm going to talk more about the trade deadline as well as doing my NFL over-unders for the season. That's going to be a fun podcast. I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.